Thinking about starting your Teachers Pay Teacher store in 2025, this video is going to be your ultimate setup guide for success. Whether you're looking to earn a little bit of extra income on TpT or replace your full-time teaching income, this video is going to help you do that. And make sure you stick with me until the end because I'm going to share the #1 mistake that new sellers make when they're getting started on TpT. Hey teacher friend, welcome back to my channel, and I'm excited to dive into a new year with you to grow your Teachers Pay Teacher store and your tutoring business and other videos that I make. But today we're going to talk about why you need to start your TpT store this coming year. Teachers Pay Teachers is a growing platform where you can sell quality resources that you already made, test it out in your own classroom, and help other teachers. Let's start there with having a serving mindset. We're always setting out to help other teachers in their classroom with the same problems that we have faced. Of course, we want to make money from those resources, but if we start with a serving mindset, the money will follow. If you're just out for dollar bills, I'm sorry to say that that's not going to come across in a genuine way, and you're probably not going to attract your ideal customer to your business with that route. It's worked for people, I'm sure, but not in the way that they've wanted it to, and it doesn't have the longevity in a teacher business that I'm sure that you're wanting. You wouldn't be watching this video if you hadn't thought a lot about the kind of business that you want to have and how you want to help teachers who are just like you. Now, one of the reasons teachers will start a TpT store is because they want to have passive income, and let me tell you, that is a complete game changer in your teacher business. Now, I don't want to have smoke and mirrors and let you think that everything on TpT is going to be completely passive, because it's not. But once you have products up and they're in the greatest condition that you can put them in and they're selling, that does become more passive. But there's still going to be things that you're updating along the way and changing and moving with the algorithm and trying different marketing strategies. But as far as trading time for money, TpT is a great place to sell resources because, like I said before, once they're already up, you can sell them while you're busy filming a YouTube video, walking your dog, exercising while you're at school. Those are my favorite sales personally as a teacher. I like to be in the middle of something and then poof, I make a sale on my watch. It's the most invigorating feeling after you've put so much hard work into your store. We're going to talk about how the trend for 2025 is going to be really niching down so that you can get the ideal customers into your store and solving those very specific problems so that people are coming back to you time and time again because they know your store is going to have the solution. And here's the best part of all of this. You don't need to be a tech wizard to do well on TpT. I myself am not like a huge technology guru. I will learn how to do what I need to do so that I can be successful, but it's not something that I love doing. So if you're like that too, I hope that gives you a little bit of peace of mind that setting up a TpT store isn't as hard as you're making it out to be. Okay, let's start with the basics of setting up your TpT store. I'm going to recommend that you go with a name that has a keyword in it. I know it's very tempting to have some kind of name that's an alliteration, that's cutesy, and you might have spent a lot of time on this already, and I relate to that hardcore. When I was starting my business, I did the same thing. However, I'm going to kind of nudge you in the direction of finding a keyword. So for example, let's say you're making second grade math resources and you're really niching down to math center activities. You could have your actual TpT storefront name have the words second grade math inside of that. And it can be very straightforward. Again, it doesn't have to be cute. The more easy it is to search for what a teacher's looking for in the search bar on TpT, the more likely they're going to land on your resources because your name was clear and they could really easily figure out what they were getting when they landed on your store. New sellers often get hung up on the name, and like I mentioned before, it happened to me as well, and many of the sellers that I've worked with really struggle with this part, and it has even halted people from putting their store up because they can't figure out a name. And to me, that is an important part as far as having those keywords, but again, landing on something super cutesy, not important at all. Next, you're going to think about what represents you the best in your business, and you're going to need your storefront to look professional. I would urge you to have a photo taken of yourself as the circular image on your storefront. Sometimes people don't want to show their face. But we all make connections with people to people. So I'm going to recommend that you do this. You don't have to spend a bunch of money and go get your photo taken professionally by a photographer. You can put your iPhone in portrait mode, take a picture, have someone do that of you, and you can even change the background so it's a bright color that pops. Your banner after that will have the name of your store and your value proposition. Like, what are you offering people when they come to your store? This is going to be the thing that you help them with, what they can expect when they land on your storefront. You want this to be crystal clear so that it is not only aesthetically pleasing, but also I will not be confused as a buyer if I go to your storefront and I want to shop around your specific resources. Because let's say again, I'm looking for math center activities for second grade. I searched your name in the search bar, came across your store, you have all the solutions I want, and we want people to be able to know that. Optimizing your store with a banner and a logo is going to be your next best step. If this part completely freaks you out and you're like, what are the dimensions? I don't know how to do any of that. You can access this super easy in my free 4-day challenge. I'll leave it in the description box below. I walk you through how to set up your storefront, and I even give you the template for the banner, which recently changed in the past year, so that you don't have to try to figure that out. There's a bunch of templates inside of that banner so that you can edit it and make it your own and customize it to your storefront without the headache of trying to figure it out all on your own. Your next step in starting your TpT store is you're going to have to identify your niche. So don't second guess this part. You are an expert in something. Think about what your favorite thing to teach is as a teacher. For me, if I'm thinking personally, I'm going to go with literacy. That's what I do in my tutoring business. It's my favorite thing to teach in the classroom. I love teaching book clubs. So I'm going to pick literacy. But again, with the second grade math example, maybe you're a second grade teacher, you love math, you're an expert in that area, and you're going to make your resources based on that. Really niching down, not getting shiny object syndrome, and focusing on solutions to problems that teachers will have when it comes to second grade math. You really do want to spend a little bit of time though researching what's missing in the market so that your store can fill that hole inside of your niche. So this is where you can really make more bang for your buck, because you're figuring out what teachers are searching for and putting a solution to that problem in that space that's available. When it comes to designing your products, you can use things like Google Slides, Canva, PowerPoint. Those are my favorites, and the ones that I have lessons inside of my course created for sellers just like you. I use all three of them. I would say if I had to pick one, Canva is probably my favorite, but Google Slides is really great too because you could make products editable inside of there. PowerPoint, great as well. It has come a long way. It used to be the only way that we made resources years ago, back when I started on TpT, but now we have other options, like I mentioned, Canva, Google Slides, perfect for TpT products and having a variety of options for your potential buyers. I really want you to focus on quality over quantity in your resources. It's going to be tempting to say, I'm going to set out and make 100 resources when you're first getting started, but I want to urge you not to do that. And here's why. Eventually you can fill the shelves of your store when you have a plan. But planning that out means you're going to learn how to make a product line. You've mapped it all out ahead of time. You're strategic about when you're sitting down to create products. You're not just throwing things in your store willy-nilly so that you can say that you have 100 products in your store. Be totally focused with intention and have a strategy this year when you're starting. Or if you're watching this and you already have a store but you're not making sales, that's probably what's lacking, is a focused plan with strategy. So there's some details that you don't want to skip when you are taking your product through the pipeline. That's what I like to call it. When you start a product, taking it all the way to the finish of uploading it on TpT, you're going to want to have product descriptions that are really focused on the benefits and the features of the product. They have keywords inside of them so that you are showing up in the search bar and that other people are able to find what they're looking for. You could have a great product, but you're not naming it correctly, so then it's not getting the visibility that you want. So focusing on those details, even though they're not always fun, they are super important. The next thing you want to focus on is having an eye-catching thumbnail, something that's consistent. You want the design consistent across your whole storefront. Once you make a template for this, then you can reuse it again and again so that when I know that I land on your store, I'm going to see the same branding across the board, and I'm not going to be confused about your products because your covers are all different and looking kind of crazy. Again, using the word strategy here. As far as the next step, and one of the final steps, is uploading your product. That might sound intimidating, but it's actually super straightforward. Don't overthink this part. It's very step-by-step on TpT when you're going to do it. Just follow the steps and make sure that you've secured everything, including your product. You want to make sure that it's been secured as far as people can't copy it. And there's ways to do that inside of all of the programs we talked about before: Canva, PowerPoint, and Google Slides. Along with that, you want to make sure that your products are available in the right version that you're offering. So if I say that something is editable, then it needs to be editable. And if I don't know how to do that, then I need to learn how to do that. If something's a PDF and that's what I'm promising, that's what I need to deliver on. Now, making it a different version, offering 2 different versions, is kind of an advanced strategy. I have a lesson on that inside of the course. If that is something that you need to figure out and fill that hole inside of your store, that is a good next step for making more money in your store, is having different versions of products available. Before you're done uploading, you're going to want to choose tags and categories so that buyers can find things easily in your store, and being, again, strategic with that. And you want to make sure the tags match what you're actually selling. And if you can tie your products to the learning standards, the Common Core learning standards, that is one of the best pieces of advice I could possibly give you. Pricing is something that people get hung up on. I get questions about that a lot. And so you just want to do the market research. Don't skip out on that. So see what other products like yours in the market are doing, and then price them competitively. And that's really the best place that you can start. There's no formula out there that will tell you X, Y, and Z to give your product a price. I've never found anything like that. I've never heard of a seller doing that. It's just all about the market research and figuring out what your competitors are doing without trying to take any of theirs and copying or stealing it. As you get more sales down the road and more reviews, you can test out your product pricing and change it from there. One of my coaches told me at one point that if a product is selling really well, you can up it a quarter. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but let's say you're selling 100 units a month, it adds up over time, and you can test out that new price point. And if nobody buys it once you increase the price, then you know that that's not really marketable and people aren't willing to pay that. But if they do, then you know you've made a good decision and increasing the price. So once your product is live, then this is when we start the marketing process, and we want people to know about our store and to find our products. So I'm going to give you some tips here on how you can do that, and some strategies that you can use this new year so that you are using your time efficiently, but also being strategic as well, and not just posting here and there and expecting people to buy your products. Social media is going to be your best friend. I really advocate for you to have a social media page for your TpT store, whether it's an Instagram account, it's my personal favorite, TikTok, we're always on the fence if that's going to be around, but having some kind of platform where you can connect. Teachers really seem to hang out on Instagram. I would be showing up consistently on stories and making posts that help solve problems, that give them breadcrumbs to your products, and you're not coming across super salesy. This gets easier over time, but if you don't start, you're never going to have traction with that. And it's a great way to get more sales in your store by building that like, know, trust factor from social media. I'm also going to advocate for you to use Pinterest as your BFF in your back pocket. So eventually in your store, you're going to start making long form content, and then you're going to have Pinterest pins that link to that content. And inside of that blog post or the YouTube video that people have clicked on from Pinterest, they're going to see links to your products as one of the solutions to the problem that you've talked about inside of the content. Now, if that's kind of going over your head right now, don't worry. That's not something that you have to solve right now, but just wanted it to be on the back burner for you because it's a huge step in your TpT store and making consistent daily sales. Another way that you can connect with your audience, aside from just showing up with the long form content, is showing behind the scenes and how you solve problems in your own classroom. When you're making a product, you could talk about it, you could have a live, and just driving traffic to your store in organic, authentic ways instead of being pushy and salesy and just dropping links in people's DMs. I know many of you are shy about social media, but again, I want to urge you to get started with it, because if you don't, then you're probably going to talk yourself out of it continually, and then your store won't grow. And I really identify with you in this stage of your business, because I didn't want to have social media either. I had all of the thoughts that you're probably having, and you can overcome them with time, but you have to get out there and practice. The next big thing for your TpT store this coming year is starting your email list and building it up. That's a total game changer. Again, this is a next level strategy, but let's say that social media was suddenly taken away from us. Like I mentioned before, they're always talking about TikTok disappearing. So what if you only had people on social media and you didn't have another way to connect with them, and suddenly that platform was taken? Then you would be in a little bit of trouble because you wouldn't have a way to reach those buyers anymore. But if you have an email list, then you own that email list and you can continue to send them emails with the weekly content that you're making, telling them about how you're doing things in your own classroom and promoting your products in email format. So that will be something you need to put on your list of things that you want to accomplish in the next year, because it's a huge step in your business that really will take you to the next level and help you scale. The simple steps to starting your email list, I know it's a bigger process than how it's going to sound on here, but you need to figure out something free that you can give your buyers, and then in exchange for that, you get their email address, it captures that, and they get the freebie downloaded. So that's something you could be thinking about, is what kind of freebie you could give away, maybe some kind of a guide or a free class that you've recorded, so that they will feel like they're getting a lot of value because you have provided a lot of value in exchange for that email address. And then in the future, you're nurturing them by sending a weekly email. And when there's times that you have sales in your store, you're promoting something, they're going to be more likely to buy it because you've nurtured them. Eventually down the road, you might want to collaborate with other TpT sellers by combining products into a bundle. I've seen many sellers successfully do this. It's a great way to grow your store and their stores in an authentic, organic way, and you can collaborate and have promotions at times that seem appropriate. So for example, let's say you have those second grade math resources and there's another seller that has second grade social studies or ELA, and you can combine to make a big giant bundle and sell it that way, as a way to not only collaborate and grow your store, but also help teachers with a one-stop shop solution that's within your niche, but also fully encompassing what they need in their classroom as a second grade teacher. There are some mistakes that new sellers make, and I don't want you to make those. So let's talk about those so that when you're starting your store, that you're on the right foot and you can be successful from the beginning. The first mistake that sellers make is not treating their business like a business and treating it more like a hobby and something that they just do on the side. I'm not saying you have to commit 40 hours a week to it in the beginning, but if you say, oh, this is just something I do, and you're not taking it super seriously, then it's not going to come across as a business and you're not going to make the sales that you want. But if you have 10 hours a week and you're very systematic and serious during that time and strategic and figuring out what you need to work on to get done for that week with your social media posts and the new products going on your shelves, editing products that need to be updated, you will have success with a 10-hour week or more. But that's typically for new sellers about the amount of time that they can give up when they're busy teaching as well. The other mistake I wanted to mention is relying solely on the TpT algorithm to do all the work for you. There are sellers who just want to put things on TpT and never have to do any marketing aspect of it. And I would argue that they're not as successful as sellers that do the marketing piece. Even if you're not in love with the social media part of it, I totally get that. But let's say you have a blog and you're doing Pinterest at the same time, you're going to be miles ahead of someone who is just putting their products on TpT and hoping that the algorithm will serve them up the customers of their dreams and make them thousands upon thousands of dollars every single month. Remember that small wins add up over time. So if it's something little like editing a product that's a bestseller or changing covers out to have continuity in your store, those are the things that aren't always fun to do, but they really do add up over time, and they will give you more success in the long run because you are doing all the things that need to be done in a successful store versus just grabbing the shiny object syndrome and doing whatever you see other people doing inside of their store. I want to urge you to come up with a plan for the year and follow it and put your blinders on and not let what other people are doing impact you. Focusing on the long game will be super beneficial to you, especially when it comes to things like blogging about your TpT products. I know it's hard to not get that instant gratification, but if you can really stick with it, you will reap the rewards of that. The people that don't have success are the ones that give up before the time is really ready for them to, because they get frustrated and they're just grumpy that they haven't made the sales that they want. But I know that you are the kind of person that's going to stick with it and have really great success in this coming year. If you're ready to get laser focused on what your store needs this year, I have something brand new for you that I haven't talked about yet. It's a free quiz that you can take that will tell you your exact pathway that you are headed down on TpT. So if you're looking for clarity in your store and what are your next best steps, but you're not sure and you feel really stuck, this quiz is for you. It's based off of a 17 magazine style quiz. It will take you about 5 minutes to do, maybe even less time, and you will leave with actionable steps on what you need to do in your store, whether you're a newbie seller or you are making the money you want on TpT but you want to scale. The quiz works for any type of seller, any phase of your business, and it tells you exactly what to do. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.